What's going on, guys? Nick Dark here. This is going to be another video, part of the full chart breakdown series, and we're going to do it on GA this time. So GBPAUD, that's the pair, guys. So we're going to do a full chart breakdown. First thing we want to do is just clear up some indicators here. Let's hide these MAs. Go ahead and do that. Okay. First thing, guys, we want to establish our support and resistance levels. So first thing we want to do, hop over to line chart, start finding some monthly and weekly levels. Okay, first thing we want to find some levels where we've had a good amount of reaction. This level looks pretty good, 2.1. Let's just quick check it on the candlestick chart. Nice overlap there, overlap here. Okay, this is a good area. I like it. And let's find one more, then we can kind of dice it up as far as a range goes. Establish a range then. Let's see, we're gonna do, I like this zone right here. Where is it? 2.4. Nice whole number. Let's see, a little bit of an overlap. Broke through, tested resistance, broke through, tested again as support. Came back through, overlapped two more times, and a pretty severe rejection from this area as well. Okay, so I like these two zones. Let's go ahead and label these our monthlies. Okay, and this one's a monthly as well. I think nope, we're good. All right, so let's get the price tool, price range tool, figure out the range on this. I'm gonna put it right at 2.1 to right here. Okay, pretty good so far. That's a pretty big range. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the downside. So I'm just taking the range, figuring out these two levels, our major monthly levels. We've seen structure form at them before, a lot of rejection from them. So this range is a pretty key range. So we can just go ahead and use that to find other key areas. So this is going to be 1.8, and it doesn't have to be exactly to the range. I always kind of round it off to the whole number, and what makes more sense, given that price action that we're seeing. And then just check it. Go to the line chart. Right, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Same with the candlestick chart. Okay, so not bad. We can do one more to the downside just so we have a key support. And this looks pretty good down here. I'm going to call it 1.5. Monthly. All right, cool. Looks pretty good. Now, we're one more step away from this. We want to split up these zones, establish some weekly areas. So there we go. Call it 1.65. This is our weekly. Does it make sense? This was support here. It broke, tested resistance. We saw some consolidation between this range. Broke through again. Found some support over in this area again. So that's a good area. Not bad. And again, guys, these are more like, these levels are more or less areas. You're not going to see every time that price action is going to stop to the exact pip. I mean, it did in this scenario right here. If you can see, it wicked it exactly on the retest. But then here you saw it overlapped a couple times, but it reacted in that zone. So they're more or less areas that you should be aware of and should be considering once price action reaches. So let's go ahead and keep dicing this up. Call it 1.95 right there. Weekly, does it make sense? Yep, reaction here, reaction a couple times here, here again. Yep, pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and get this last zone done. 2.225, or 2.25 rather, weekly zone. All right, cool, looking pretty good. So we want to do a couple more things on this monthly. Just look at the overall sentiment. Clearly bearish, right? We're getting lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and then it's consolidating here. So do we see any patterns? Do we want to label any channels? A couple. We could definitely label this channel right here. I like this one. This looks pretty good. Not bad. Let's go and extend this a little bit. I want it to look more like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so this is a nice channel here. A monthly channel. So be aware this has been forming since 2016, November, okay? So it's just good to be aware of. Definitely has been more of an uptrend on the daily time frame. You can see this is just like a daily or weekly even. It's been very bullish on this time frame. But on the monthly, this time frame, this particular chart that we're on now has been very bearish. So just keep that in mind. I just want to highlight this level as a very important zone right here, this monthly, because we saw such huge rejection from this area a couple times. I actually want to call this one a fake out, because this is the zone right here. So it broke a support, it held the support many times over here, broke lower, came all the way back up and retested, and then retested again over here before dropping. So we could see this. This could be a pretty big move happening, especially with this huge monthly bearish variation. 3 months of huge bearish volume. All right, so I think that's enough for the monthly. We can do one last check. There's also no rush when you guys are analyzing. Take your time, bounce around, check things twice, 3 times. It's not a problem. There's no rush when analyzing. So we're checking. These zones look pretty good. I like what I'm seeing. Okay, we can take it to the next step. Drop to the weekly. Let's zoom out a little bit, see what we're looking at. So basically, that ascending channel that we highlighted right here, this is what the weekly is kind of capturing in its view. So what we want to identify here is, any other important zones. Do we see any, change of direction, any transitions happening? So let's go ahead and identify this zone first right here. Right where this monthly is a pretty key level. I actually want to bring it down a little more, right there, to the monthly. Okay, so this is a key level where we can expect some sort of reaction. This is very overextended as well. We're also looking for patterns. What can we identify here? This was a bit of a range. Finally broke right here. I'm going to highlight this area of structure that we saw break. Call it 1.875. Highlight it in blue because, again, structure. And this is when, that's when these were higher highs, these were higher lows, higher high. That's when these were broken. Right, so this was a higher low. Price action came back through, broke it pretty significantly, and now we find ourselves at monthly support. So we're definitely looking short on this. I can already tell that the potential for this to pull back to this area is pretty high, right? Because this is a pretty overextended push. It needs to form structure. So the likelihood of it pulling back to this area at least is pretty high, and then it could continue. Maybe look to break this area here, like this, and then give us a lower high in this area, like this. So again, this is the weekly. This is not a trade forecast. I'm just showing you a potential scenario. We will get into a trade forecast once we get to the lower time frame, so just bear with me. Looking for something like this, okay? So this is very possible, especially with this overall trend in mind. It's bearish, very bearish on the monthly. This time frame here, we can see that it's very bullish on the weekly, but this daily bearish volume here is pretty significant, so we could see something happening. Let's just fib this. Bearish fib, because again, I want to see if this is going to continue lower. This was definitely wiping out some major support, so we can go ahead and properly give this a fib. Bearish fib, so then what's the golden zone right here? 38.2 lines up pretty well with our structure level. Nice little zone right there, okay? So the potential for that to pop up is pretty high, but once we get to the lower time frames, we'll be able to identify some patterns potentially. Anything significant that we should be looking at. One last check on this time frame. I'm looking for patterns. Anything not really. I just like this zone right here. It's looking pretty good. 7.5 again. Yeah, this is a pretty big area. I'm actually going to draw this zone all the way over because we've seen resistance here many times, and I want to capture right where it caught support right here. Okay, looking pretty good. I like it. Let's drop down to the daily. Actually, let's save it real quick too. It's important. All right, so what I want to do, I'm on the daily here. I'm just going to adjust some things, kind of bring things into more narrow view so we can see it all. Okay, something like that. Good. Get rid of these arrows for now. All right, we're looking for some big indication as to where price action could be going. All right, like we said, we're here at the monthly. It's actually there, so we're going to highlight some minor structure levels. Okay, 8.1, 1.81. Okay, and then we're going to do another one right here. So what I'm highlighting now is basically where, we're seeing lower lows. So once a lower low is formed, that's like a minor level of support, and then it finally breaks that, goes for a new lower low, comes back and retests the prior lower low, forms a new lower low, and so on and so on. So this is just good, healthy market structure. It's showing that there's a nice trend here. Let me see if this makes sense. Yep, that looks pretty good. So basically, this is just a strong trend. That's all that this is highlighting here. There's a pretty good trend. You know, we want to see some sort of pullback to a golden level, and you could enter on, you know, you can enter each way. So let's go ahead and I'm going to paint the daily setup here. We essentially want to see price action come all the way back up here. We can throw the MAs on too, because they help in identifying structure. So look, the 200 EMA is right there, another level of confluence, another added to the confluence, another indication. So we got the 200 EMA here, we have structure, we have 38.2, important zones. Definitely what we want to see. So this is very, very likely, right? But this is quite a ways away from entering any shorts, right? So like, look, 750 pips away. That's a lot of pips. So I'm going to show you how we could potentially enter on a long position here if we see this transition happen. So what we can do now is drop to a 4-hour. All right, so I mean, this is very extended bearish push. You know, it could just keep with that momentum, but I wouldn't take a short on this until I see this zone break, because we are at such a key level. We're at such a huge monthly level. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make this trade path 2 in orange. So the blue line is the preferred trade path. The orange is just a potential scenario. Okay, so this is what we could see happen if momentum just continues. I want to see a nice push lower, just like this. Right, nice little lower low here, right at the 0%. Let's highlight this. Okay, so this is where that lower low is. We could see a break of that lower low, come back, form a lower high, and then off we go down towards a new low. We'll target towards this negative 27 fib level. So this is trade path 2. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this for you. Oops, not the right tool. Call out. So we want make this orange, number 2. Good, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab bar pattern to kind of, you know, illustrate what we're seeing here. So this would be from the lower low, it came back up, retested, and then it dropped. So we're looking for like this, essentially something like this. Oh, wait a second, hold on. This was the dip. Something like this. We want to see a drop, retest. That's actually, I don't like that example. That was a pretty bad one. Let's do this instead. There we go. A little bit better. All right, so we want to see a push lower, retest like that, and then a continuation to the downside. Pretty good. Pretty decent setup. Let's go ahead and make this orange because this is the secondary trade path. Ideally, we do want to see a pullback to the 38.2 like we've been saying, so it would look something like this. Right, so what we're doing here is we're just kind of following price action. You know, I'm not necessarily predicting anything. I want the market to show me its next move, and we're going to see that in the form of a transition, which is what I'm drawing right now. Transition to the upside. We want to see some of these lower highs erased. We want to start getting some higher lows. Then that would then, you know, indicate a retracement to where we could enter in at a better spot with a better risk to reward, a better trade all around. That plays into the overall trend, which is very much bearish as we've seen. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep highlighting this. This would be that retracement that we were talking about, all the way up to 38.2, and then we would start looking for, you know, transitions in this area. You know, head and shoulders patterns, double tops, any sort of rejection followed by a lower high, and then we're short. And then we would be entering up in this area. So let's go ahead and get the trade set up like this. We would target the low back down towards a monthly, protect ourselves outside of this key resistance, and we have a really great trade here. So, I mean, GA moves a lot, so the stop loss is going to be pretty big, but so is your take profits. This is like 840 pips, risking 200. Again, stop loss doesn't really matter. You're always risking the same amount per trade, but this is what that trade would look like. And then we'd be entering on some sort of transition, the first lower high we see, confirming, you know, a reversal. So that would be a really great setup. But either way, you know, we're looking at shorts for the most part. If you wanted to counter trend trade this, again, you want to enter on this higher low. So this is what the long setup could look like. Play it up towards the 38.2. You know, play the range, 700 plus pips. Your stop loss would need to be below this monthly quite a bit to make sense. 2.0 all the way down here, so it's like 360 pips. Damn, that's a pretty big stop. So 360 pips to get 700. That's a 2.0 right there. So what you want is this transition to take place, right? And then you can get in on confirmed higher low. So if it breaks this level, let's go ahead and highlight the level with a price label. Okay, so you want to see a break of 1.81, retest of 1.81, confirmed support, bullish setups in the form of engulfing, morning star, exhaustion, bullish variation, so like 3 candles in a row, showing us that there's conviction from, you know, the bulls that this is going to continue up to this next level. So this could be a nice trade here. Again, this is a counter trend trade. There's always more risk presented with a counter trend trade, but you know, nonetheless, the setup, it could potentially be there. So just be aware of it. Okay, especially you want to get above this 200 EMA too. That would just confirm it even more. But yeah, looking pretty good. So like a couple setups in here, you know, and then here I'll highlight this one for the sake of analysis. Right, let's say we get into this trade here. Stop loss wants to be above the monthly, target down towards the negative 27. Nice 2.0. So this is like 270 pips we're risking to get 550. 2.0 risk reward. So guys, there's a few setups in here, right? Just gotta wait for the proper confirmations to enter. So again, let me go ahead and highlight this real quick. Where is it? Call out. There it is. Trade path 1. Highlight this in blue. Number 1. Okay, perfect. Good. So again, we're literally waiting for a break of either side. We're going to break to the upside. We're going to break to the downside, and then we can better, you know, gauge ourselves of where we can enter. So you always want to enter on a higher low in a long position or a lower high in a short position, and we don't have either of those forming right now. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait. If we're looking to buy, waiting for that higher low, boom, we're going to enter here, target towards the high, towards resistance, towards this zone up here, or wait for a break. Momentum's going to push price action through this monthly zone, get in on a lower high, retest, and then, you know, bearish setups, and we're short and lower towards this fib level, and potentially even lower down towards the weekly. But we'll play that, we'll analyze and play it as it plays out. So let's go ahead and go back to the daily, see if any of this makes sense, and then we can go to the 1 hour and get, you know, a last look, see how the structure's forming. So yeah, looking pretty good. We're at definitely a key level, huge momentum, definitely a little bit overextended. Would like to see that retracement. That's definitely the favorable move in this scenario. But yeah, I mean, but it could definitely drop, could continue to slide down and break this monthly. So let's go back down to the 4 hour, kind of move things around a little bit, and then we'll go back down towards the monthly. And also notice how I'm going all over the place on different time frames, because you're always checking your work. You want to see if things make sense. Just because you analyzed, you know, something on the 4 hour, you want to go back to the daily and check it, see if it makes sense. You're not just drawing lines, zoning in on one time frame only. Definitely bounce around, utilize those time frames. So let's go ahead. We're on the daily here. I'm sorry, we're on the 1 hour now, and I'm just going to try and identify patterns. You know, see if anything is kind of indicating either or direction. So right now, a little bit of a head and shoulders down here. Again, that's just, you know, solidifying that this is a key support. Not bad. It broke a little transition here. So like, let me show you. This is a little bit of a transition. Minor level, very minor level. Right? See this? These were like lower highs on this lower time frame here. It finally broke it and then gave us a higher low, crossed through the MAs and continued higher. So that's the first step. This is a lower time frame transition. This is more or less a 30-minute down here taking place. But then, you know, this hourly transition would take place once this lower high is erased, you know, or eclipsed rather. Price action pushes higher, comes back, retests, and continues higher. So yeah, this is quite a ways away from entry. So the time frame to look on this is the 4 hour right now. You know, we're waiting for that zone to break, the 1.81 level, waiting for that to break to the upside. Or, you know, we'll get maybe a giant evening star, confirm this lower high here, break support, and look for that next entry on a lower high, a higher time frame lower high. So yeah, guys, this is where we're at right now. Nothing really happening on the 30-minute, 1 hour. We got to wait on this to play out. So 4-hour time frame it is. All right, guys, this has been another full chart breakdown on GBPAUD, and I'll see you in the next one.